perfect life looks brilliant. Give me more of this. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. Yeah, you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but the light has got me hypnotized. You've got me hypnotized. And get you out of my hand again. Is it wrong? Is it right? It's like I've won my final war without a fight. I'm out of control, about to blow, and I've been caught in the undertow. So toxic, but I can't get enough. You bury me, bury me. I know you bury me, bury me. You've got me hypnotized. Push me out of myself. You've got me hypnotized. I can see, I can hear, going crazy, but I am in misery. Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on the ground. I've got no shelter, I've got no escape. My life is a prison and I can't run away. I feel it in my bones, I'm losing it all. Stuck in my head, I am in misery. Deep inside myself, all I get, my only family. Stuck in the grave, can someone rescue me? I'm burning alive, I got it, I am in misery.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Taking Over. I am, of course, OLED Ed Fries, joined, as always, on a Tuesday night by my tag team partner, the natural Astrid Pizarro. Astrid, we had an interesting show tonight. I didn't hate everything. Isn't that fun?
Wow.
I didn't hate everything on the show.
I mean, that's a good thing at least.
Isn't it nice when Ed doesn't hate everything? Sorry, I'm trying to put out this post about where to find us. It's just not working, so fuck it. Just going to have a random post that has no link to where we are.
It's okay.
Well, NXT's run out of ideas for the men's championship and OFME. We know that because Battle Royal!
We don't know what to do because the draft is probably coming up anyway.
I will say, I think it's interesting how little options there are for winners in this. Because there are 23 named people based on the graphic, and we're going to go over them all right now. Timothy Thatcher isn't going to win. Chris Island, I don't know who the fuck he is, but he isn't going to win. I think he's LFG. All these guys that I don't know who they are, I'm going to assume are LFG people.
Yeah.
Shiloh Hill, I know he's on LFG because he was in the Obafemi segment earlier. Won't win. Ridge Holland might
He's on the maybe list. Maybe.
He's on the they have a shot. Shawn Legacy. As much as I adore Shawn Legacy on Evolve, he ain't winning nothing. Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes, swipe right. As much as I adored them, no. Ethan Page on the maybe list. Probably not because I don't think that's the championship he's going after in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura, not winning. Hello, Sean Cena. Sean Cena, not winning. Trick Williams, probably going to win this battle royal. Nico Vance, Brooke Jensen, not winning. Sean Spears, Maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe. I could see it. Stranger things could happen. He's at least as high as Rich Holland, and on the want to versus could possibly, he's a lot higher than Rich Holland.
I feel like this is a tier list at this point.
Right. Javon Evans, probably one of the final three. Eddie Thorpe, probably one of the final three. I don't think he'll win. But I think he's up there. Charlie Dempsey. I think he wins this. If it's not Trick, and I think it will be probably should be Trick. And if it's not Javon, because it probably should be or could be Javon, I think Charlie Dempsey makes a lot of sense. He hasn't been doing much. He came off a great win on Bloodsport. I think he could do a nice match with Obafemi, give him a shot at the main championship. I think he could do a lot. There's a lot of good I think him and Obafemi could do together. Tavion Heights and Miles Bourne, as fun as it would be, not winning.
No.
Lexis Kane, not winning. Wesley, maybe? Wesley and Obafemi have put on bangers before. No, I know they're pushing Bourne, but I don't think so. I think Charlie eliminates Miles, to be honest with you. I think John Cena will win because we won't see it. Yeah, Oba versus Dempsey, I think I can get behind. Wesley's high on that list because I think he's not doing much. And they've had bangers before. So there's no reason they couldn't do it. Tyson and Tyreek, TNT. No. That also leaves 2 openings unannounced that I'm going to assume are TNA talent. I have a wish list that I know I won't get of people that I'd want. The first on that wish list would be Mustafa Ali.
Oof.
He just lost to Mike Santana. So he's really got nothing going on right now in TNA. We know Shawn adores Mustafa Ali and everything he was doing. Because Shawn was the one who was like, I had him in a title match. I planned on pushing him. He was winning the North American Championship. So, as long as Ali was willing, I think that there's a shot Ali could be one of them. Again, dream, it won't happen. But stranger things in the wrestling world have happened. He's on top of my wish list. As much as I don't personally like him, I know a lot of people do, and I think that it could be something that you could push. Mike Santana. I think Mike Santana would be another option that you could put there as somebody who you could bring in from TNA to elevate them.
Yep.
Because they did say, well, I'll rephrase that. Miles Bourne did say, it was Evolve, LFG, TNA, College as well. Okay, go ahead and get the tables. You drop all the questions you want. We'll go ahead. I just wanted to see this. We had the list. Somebody made a list of everybody who's in the image. And I was like, well, we should talk about that because there's some fun names on this list. Like I said, Sean Legacy, Swipe Right, Timothy Thatcher. There are some interesting names from those Evolve games that I'm like, I think it could be fun to give them a shot at Obafemi. But they won't win. They shouldn't win. But it could be fun. Ashton, what do you think? Who would be on your wish list for people to have from TNA? Besides Mike Santana, who looked dreamily in his eyes.
Yes. Aside from Santana, I think the other one, because we had him already once and they didn't do much with him, will be Kaz.
Yep.
I think he'll be a fun one to have. And I agree with both of yours with Mustafa and Santana. I think that one would be another one that would be fun. Shoot, I'm trying to think of who else. Ooh, maybe Leon Slater. I feel like he had a great performance at the pay-per-view as well. I feel like that would be another fun one.
Yeah, I could. I mean, we'd piss off Moose if we brought Leon Slater over because You've been seeing how
even better. Even better. Come on, bring him over.
You've been seeing Moose over there. You've been seeing Moose over there on the internet, and he's oh boy, he's been all over this Leon Slater stuff. No, there is no chance on God's green earth that Nick Nemeth is in this. And there's one reason for that. I don't think Nick would ever do it. Like the Ali thing, I think is different because Ali knows that Shawn likes him, and I think Ali knows that Triple H kind of likes him. So I think that there'd be a willingness there to go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nick Nemeth is so far removed from anything WWE. Like I think there's a handful of people in TNA that aren't coming anywhere near an NXT appearance. Indy Hartwell. You will not see Indy Hartwell in NXT. You won't. Why? Because WWE just got rid of her. There's no
want to separate it.
And like I said, the Ali thing I think is different. It's been a while. He was at least 2 releases ago, 2 or 3 releases ago. I mean, Dominic Mysterio was still the reigning North American champion when Ali was last here. So I think that there's time there for them to have made nice and to come back. But yeah, all right. So one of the questions is if Hendry perhaps cost Trick in the Battle Royal, do you think that they would do Trick Hendry for the TNA title? They could. I could easily see Trick versus Hendry for the TNA Championship. Yeah, they are going up against AEW that night, but I also don't think you're going to see them go hell for leather with, anything too shocking. But they're building Trick versus Joe Hendry, so that's not a huge surprise. I could see that happening easily.
Yeah, and to confirm, Mustafa was 2023 September, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So
we're almost September. 2 years removed. So we're at least 2 or 3 release cycles away from the Mustafa Ali.
Yep.
Which again, like I said, never say never in WWE and in wrestling in general with people coming back. I mean, we all woke up to that horrific apocalyptic tweet from 83 Weeks the other day. So anything can happen. But, no, let's not and say that we didn't. Let's just not. Oh, I can't. Shane Cardona made me think of a name, though. What about Vikingo? Triple A. Vikingo. Triple A. I could see him making an appearance. He's linked to TNA. He's linked to Triple A. And it would start to go ahead and build to, like, having Vikingo at Battleground would start the ball rolling to get us to Worlds Collide.
Worlds Collide.
Which I think is something that is a lot more likely than unlikely there when it comes to. I wish it was never say never about an indie appearance, but yeah, if as Tom Collique said, and as anybody who knows wrestling knows, if they want you, they'll call you. When they fire you, they don't want you no more.
Rest in peace, Index.
Yes, rest in peace, Index. How many were on the screen for the Battle Royal? 23. I did count the names on that list. There were 23 of the 25, which I said leaves 2 openings for a TNA because they specifically mentioned TNA. And I think you can get Vikingo as a TNA inclusion because he was just at Rebellion competing for the whatever the hell they called it. The Moose Division Championship, X Division.
Yeah, don't call it that.
The Moose Division. Where he breaks all the rules. Where he breaks all the rules and gets to pick his own rules. Because he even explained, he's like, the feet have to touch the ground. And I'm like, but Slater's feet did touch the ground as you speared him. So technically, Slater still won. Whatever. Andre C is here. Hello, Andre C. Another great week on NXT because there was no low device. Woohoo! Oh, God. Oh, God. No. He's right. He's
now
right.
it's Flop Dollar.
I was going to say, it could be Flop Dollar.
Oh my God. Ew, Andre, come on.
Vikingo was also at WrestleMania. He was indeed. I think the more I think about the Vikingo one, the more I could talk myself into not only him being there, but him winning. Because I just think that would be an interesting match. Like, trying to figure out how you do Vikingo versus Obafemi could just be fun.
That's true.
But like I said, I don't know too much about Vikingo's wrestling style because that's not my preferred style of professional wrestling. But I know he's a big name. I know they want to do the AAA thing. He's the only name from AAA other than Sam Adonis that makes a lot of sense.
Or you try to save him as much as possible because he's had 2 injuries in a row at this point. So keep him as healthy as possible for the Worlds Collide.
But a battle royal, you can save somebody.
I know.
You hide them in the corner. You don't do much. It's a battle royal.
So we'll see.
But we spent 15 minutes talking about the battle royal. Let's go ahead and talk about what's on tonight's show. Joe Hendry opened the show. What did you think of Joe Hendry's opening promo here?
What can I say? We love the man. He's doing great things. So I love it when he shows up and somebody calls his name, but he didn't show up just now, unfortunately. Even though it's not that far away. No, I like the promo here from him. I like what he's building up here with Trick as well. The back and forth they have with each other, showing up at each other's shows. That kind of thing has been very interesting. I feel like the only thing is like of all people, I was unexpecting Dark State to show up. It's like very interesting pointing out there the way they showed up to face him. And then I see them now after it's like almost like a power bomb sort of thing they do to everybody now. And when the graphics showed up on the screen afterwards, it just gave me a combination of the Shield, Retribution, and the Wyatts at the end too, with the screen popping up too. And I was like, I don't know if I like this still. I really don't. I'm still on the fence about it. I just don't like the combination of all these groups when they could try something a little bit different this time around.
I mean, this is literally, hey, what are the things that worked in the past? Let's do all that in one. They do the Shield bomb. It's like, don't get me wrong. The tossing Shield bomb is dope as hell. I love it. But Dark State needs to phase out Reader Man. You know, steamy romance Astrid book Reader Man needs to be phased out. We need to make Shaquan Sugars the star of this group. Because now, on your broadcast on the CW, did they actually cut back to Dark State and do the promo? Because on the Netflix feed, I was watching the crowd react to a Dark State promo halfway through the show.
I don't remember a promo. I just remember like they did the power bomb, as I call it, and then they flashed the graphic that was very similar to like the Wyatt with the noise and everything. That was very similar to it. And then I think it was done after that, if I remember correctly. So I was like, I thought it was weird.
Later on in the show, they came back from commercial break and they were like just doing pans of the crowd, and you heard a Dark State promo over it because somebody forgot to hit the button to go to the promo. And if you want to see the promo, it's on digital now. It's on WWE socials as we speak. I thought this was good. Joe Hendry cut out a cool promo. He talked about how Trick took the easy way out. And for an old school TNA fan, I love hearing cross the line. Like, I know they've been saying it for a while now with like everybody going back and forth. But for old school TNA fans, that brings you to a certain place in time in TNA history when you cross the line. And it's just like, oh, it reminds me of Samoa Joe. It reminds me of the Unbreakable Triple Threat. It's Kazarian. It's Daniels. It's AJ. It's that special time before everything gets fucked up in TNA. It's so good.
Very accurate.
We get the Ava and Io segment from social media earlier today where Jordynne Grace comes in and says that she'll tag with Io Sky against Roxanne and Giulia. And we've had Logan popping up here, and Logan's a very big fan of the wrestlers here. And if WWE signs Maya Iwatani, which apparently is a lot more likely than I thought it was going to be, and Giulia gets called up, Stephanie get called up sooner rather than later. And you also had put in here, where's it? Yes, flopped out. Giulia called up to Raw. Giulia and Roxanne have officially essentially been called up. They'll be doing double duty, kind of tying up storylines, bringing things back and forth. But yeah, no, it's definitely a call up for the two of them, and good for them. I still want some sort of an explanation as to why they're friends, and we kind of got that tonight.
Yeah, sort of.
After 2 weeks on Raw, we finally kind of got something, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Zach Minger, thank you for joining us. This is a new name. Hello, thank you. I was hoping Kyrie would have been Io's partner. One can dream, I guess. She'll be back sooner rather than later. I know Kyrie and Asuka both sent well wishes to Meiko Satomura, and we pass along our well wishes to Meiko Satomura. Congratulations on having your final match. Hopefully this is a real final match and not a Terry Funk retirement. So good for you. There are some great clips of that if you haven't seen it. Aja Kong convincing the referee to let her use the trash can because it's the last time she can hit her in the head with the trash can and she wants to do it. Oh, there's some great stuff there. Speaking of not great stuff, we had Chemical X being consoled by Karmen Petrovic. This was the least believable thing I ever seen on television. And then Ashante came in and said that you have a match with Soul tonight, and when you win, we have a title match. Yeah. And I was like, oh, fucking God.
I'm like, this is a royal we, right? Is that what this is?
No, I think it was going to be a triple threat match of Ashante the Adonis going for the Women's North American Championship, obviously. I mean, anyways, that was a segment. We then did have my boy Lexis King, apparently, taking on Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks conquering the third member of the AEW Gauntlet. He has now conquered Shawn Spears, Ethan Page, and now Lexis King, or Brian Pillman Jr. He now only has Rusev and Aleister Black to complete the set. So he's collecting them
like the Infinity Stones.
I was thinking more like Pokemon badges. I was thinking more Pokemon badges, but yeah, essentially same idea. Yeah. This was a good match. I really enjoyed this. I thought they had really good chemistry. I thought they told a really interesting story. Now, Ricky Starks is telling the same story every week, which I'm starting to get a little annoyed about. Like, I love Ricky Starks, but his matches are very... No. We save Cody. Cody is the final boss of all AEW gauntlets. Yeah, Cody has bigger things to do for this year. Someday he can do that, but that's way out of. At least Rusev and Aleister Black are within his league. Cody Rhodes is a bit of a mountaintop too much for Ricky Starks right now. But no, it's Roche. It's beat it down on Ricky Starks, make him feel like he's weak, be all big and strong, hit Rochambeau, get the win. It's kind of copy and paste every time. That's kind of the formula they use for his matches. It's fine. I don't hate it. But I'm starting to want more. Whether it's protecting Ricky Starks, and like I said, it's just a different story in the match because they're telling good stories overall with Ricky Starks. The promos are good. The way they're building his matches are good. There's just something about the match that's just kind of formulaic. Mm-hmm. And I want a little bit more. But I think Ricky's doing fantastic work. I thought Lexis King held his own. I thought Lexis King looked really good here. I didn't hate commentary here. I thought they did a really good job. Even during the commercial break, when they spent the commercial break making fun of Vic Joseph, saying to stop talking shit to about Lexis King because we're not like Pat McAfee, we're not going to protect you. Which I thought was great. I don't know if you heard that on the CW, but they definitely had a period of it during the commercial break where they really went in on him about it.
Yeah, I don't pay attention to commentary at this point.
Speaking of part of the... actually, your thoughts on the match before I go to Shawn Spears. I'm sorry.
It was like it wasn't anything out of the ordinary for me. Like you said, it's nothing to like really like particularly highlight about it. But I do hope that they give other people to Ricky that will make him shine a little bit more. That's what I'm hoping for him. Just like you said, just like you kind of see like the same type of people, the same kind of. It almost feels like a routine. So you do want to see something that would stand out a little bit more. So I'm hoping that as he gets built up a little bit more, they'll get more people that will kind of like he will highlight them and they will highlight him, and in the process as well. And to see something more interesting happening for him because I just feel like so far it's been like random opponents. So he hasn't had like a clear direction, like a clear storyline yet. Because we had him winning the title from Shawn Spears. That part was done. And then I forgot who the other person was. And then now with Lexis as well. And it feels like the Lexis one is probably gonna be over after this too. So you just don't see him having like a storyline built for himself and an opponent set for him either. So I'm hoping like maybe with the build up to Battleground that will change, but we'll see.
You know who I'd honestly would rather Ricky Starks feud with right now? Eddie Thorpe. I thought Eddie Thorpe's comments during that promo segment with the four of the, remember when the four heels were all going after each other? I thought Eddie Thorpe shined there. I think the North American Championship is a perfect place to have Eddie Thorpe have, you know, a 2-3 month feud with Ricky Starks. I think there's a lot you can mine there. I think Ricky Starks can hold up his end of the bargain on the microphone, and Lord knows Eddie Thorpe can hold up his end of the match. I mean, Carl Fredericks is fantastic. So I think that there's a lot to be had there. And I think Eddie Thorpe doing something for a title lower down the card would be good for him. And honestly, I wouldn't be upset if they put the title on Eddie Thorpe.
No. No,
and
we're
let
not
Rick,
doing
and
that.
let Ricky go up to the main event.
Okay, maybe.
We then had a Shawn Spears segment, which again, I don't understand how you cannot understand how to do Dark State. You cannot understand how to do the D'Angelo family stuff. But yet you can do this with Spears. Nico, Izzy, and Brooks did not speak. But they said so much. Spears talks about Izzy, and first he says you can't fear failure. You have to let your failures go ahead and teach you so you can go forward. I love this because he starts this out being like, you know, you guys have all failed recently. And I'm like, oh, we're going to get an angry Spears. And he's like, no. This is more motivation, more about you than about me. And I'm like, I love this. I love this like motivational thing where he's taking their failures and making it make sense for character development. It's so good. By the way, I know this is going to sound crazy, but about 6 months ago, Tyler Breeze mentioned that he's writing for NXT. I think everything involved with all of the culling stuff in Shawn Spears is Shawn Spears and Tyler Breeze.
Most likely.
I know it's not true. It possibly is true.
I was gonna say I wouldn't say it's not true, but it's a possibility to put it like that.
In my head canon, it makes so much sense that these two are the ones doing this, telling the story about getting 3 other talents over. Because as people said, Shawn Spears is a 40-year-old champion in developmental. And it's like, he's not meant to be a champion for himself. He's a champion to get other people over.
Yep.
Ricky Saints in this group. He tells Izzy that you are so good, but you failed. This division is so talented and so stacked. You have to make your opportunity here. So find somebody in the spotlight, whip the spotlight away from them, and shine it on yourself. A+. Perfect. Izzy instantly feels like a big deal in the women's North American title division. And they didn't even mention Sol Ruca or the women's NXT women's North American title. But that's exactly where I put myself. Izzy's going to go ahead and she's going to whip the opportunity away from somebody else and bring it to herself. I love it. He then talks to Nico and Brooks, talking about Hank Tank and about how they have to get under their skin and try to find the faults in Hank Tank to go ahead and do it. I'm like, all right, makes sense. It's a little less character building, but I'm fine with it. I just love this Shawn Spears character of motivating everybody around you. He's the cult leader bringing all these people and trying to bring them success so that they'll follow him willingly without question. I fucking love it. It's so good. And how can they do this so well and not understand anything else? Do you have any thoughts on the culling here?
Yeah, now you made me think about like the whole segment. It's just like it makes you think also like when you give certain people creative control and you let them like kind of like in a way run wild with it, and you see how people react to it. That really shows you like how somebody can work really well when you give them that creative process. I know it's not meant for everybody because we see that in AEW, like to compare it like that. In WWE, they give you bullet points on what you want to talk about. In AEW, they don't give you anything. So it's like it depends on your style, to put it like that. And WWE doesn't often give people that creative like freedom, to put it like that. And I feel like a lot of people miss that kind of thing and getting the opportunity to do that. And and I feel like I like seeing that in certain people. I feel like sometimes you have to let people have that freedom and test it out to see how it goes. And if it goes, we'll just let them go like round with it. And I feel like Shawn Spears is one of those people like you let him do his thing and he'll be fine. And he's one of those people like you won't have to worry about him and not bringing something interesting to the table because he knows what he's doing. And I think it's also a glimpse to how him and if Tyler is involved as well, who they are as coaches because that's how they are. That's their backgrounds as well. Not everybody does that. And there are two other people that actually do have that. And just seeing that, like you said, it's like I feel like it's so interesting because at this point when you see them, it's like you make Izzy sound like a big deal even after a loss. And it's like you don't often get to do something like that just after somebody loses a championship match. And I feel like he did very well with it of building her up in such a way. And like you kind of expected him based on the topic when he first started it and he was giving you that introduction, you kind of expected him to start yelling at them and get angry at them for losing. You were like already in your mind, like, he's gonna get angry. He's gonna start yelling, telling them, "Well, you guys are failures. I don't know why you guys are in this group." You know, that sort of route. And to see the opposite being thrown out there and being shown, it's like that's interesting. It draws your attention to it more than what you were thinking it would and what you thought in your mind was gonna happen. And I feel like he does so well with that. It's one of those people like you just let him do his thing. And if you notice how people react to it, and if you notice that the people enjoy it, then give him that freedom to keep going with it and maybe involve him in other storylines that might help build up some other people as well, aside from just his group. But I feel like they did really well with it. They've been doing pretty well with all these profiles for the culling ever since they started them as a group. I feel like this has been the best part of them is just seeing them as in these promos as characters and the way they develop them. They've been really well with it.
They feel like fully fleshed out characters. Like even Nico Vance, the guy we don't hear from talk much about. I feel like we understand what his character's about just based on the promos that Shawn Spears cuts with him in the ring. And his in-ring work is improving week on week. Every time we see him in the ring, he's getting a little bit better. He's doing a little bit more. The Culling is the best well-booked group of NXT right now. Speaking of booked groups, we then transfer to the D'Angelo family and the train wreck that this thing is. All right. I didn't hate this, but I didn't love it. Tony D'Angelo talks about how he never saw this coming, how he was always there for Stax, how Stax was always the hothead, and he had to go ahead and cover for Stax all the time. And he talked about how great it was that when he was in jail, Stax stepped up. When he went down with injury, Stax stepped up. He made him the underboss. But then the underboss wanted too much power, and his impulsivity got the best of him. And that's how when he had to put him back in his place and become the Dawn of the family again and take over running this. And all of that made sense. And then he's like, and then Stax, I never saw it coming. The world was watching and you stabbed me in the back. And I'm like, that's a great line. It's the biggest show of the year. Let's remind everybody that this was a big deal because of the fact that it happened on Stand and Deliver in front of our biggest audience of the year. You took that opportunity. You could have had any opportunity, but you handpicked that. Make Stacks feel like a big deal. Then Stacks came on the TV screen and literally said hundreds of words and said nothing at all.
No.
Like, I put Stacks says he's soft and he got sick of taking orders. Stacks says that you don't know who you can trust, and Tony beat up a few PC talent. Like, at the end of the day, Stacks cut a 3-minute promo, and I got 2 lines of literal words. Like, not even 2 sentences. Just like a sentence of what he was talking about. Because he did nothing with it. And that's a bit of a shame, because I've been enjoying Stacks lately. I thought Stacks, one thing that Stacks was always doing so well was his promos. I felt like he was coming along and he just withered away and died tonight next to Tony D'Angelo. And he wasn't even next to Tony D'Angelo.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I will say, I saw somebody on the internet post, "Where's Luca?" And I go, well, if you saw where Stacks was standing, he's sleeping with 2 dives.
Don't remind me.
This was a train wreck of a segment, and I really don't know what more
Okay.
to say.
Question for you. Maybe this was me being me, but when they advertised this, I was expecting them to have that little face-off in the ring, and I feel like that would have made a bigger difference. I know that even Stacks being the heel, I expected 2 things: either them having a face-off in the ring, or Stacks coming down, like, I don't want to say the ramp, but the ramp area, and being that heel of not being in the same ring as Tony, but having like Stacks there and then the barrier of the same guys in front of him, and then Tony in the ring. Like, one of those 2 scenarios, that was what I have visualized based on the wording that they used for the preview.
Mm-hmm.
So when we see Tony, I was like, okay, Tony's talking. When Stacks is his turn, he'll come out. And then seeing him in the TV, I was like, I understand you're a heel, but I feel like, and this is the kind of storyline based on how it's going, that they should have been a little bit closer together. I feel like having him separate didn't help in that aspect either. I know the visual of like you said, the part with Luca, like the visual, they want to give you that as the background and continue that part of like, this is the second part too, like what happened with Luca. I get that, but I feel like they needed to be more face to face in that aspect too, and I feel like that would have been like a little bit of a difference here, based on like how their family and the trusting thing and all that stuff. Because I'm thinking, if your family and he's like, oh, you were a leader, you were not leading anymore, you don't know who to trust, I would have had not the guys in front of Stacks, but the guys behind Tony, either ones that hit Tony as Stacks is in the front, and give you that like more emphasis about like, oh, you're not gonna be trusting anybody, and that you're not a leader anymore, and emphasize that with the scenario right there and then. That's why I feel like that would have made more of a difference in the delivery of the line, if that makes sense.
They dropped the ball so much on this segment, and you can get away with having them in 2 different places, but make it make sense for Stacks. Stack then needs to tell me why he's not there and why he doesn't want to be in Tony's face. Because as the heel, he should want to be there, especially if you're going to have people attack him. If you're going to play the you don't know who you can trust game, and when Tony turns and he's instantly looking to see who he can trust, you can't have those guys go, no, you can trust me, Tony, right away, and like have nothing happen. There was just so much opportunity that they wasted in this segment, and it just felt. The Tony portion, this was great. It was the Stacks portion that kind of let down, and it's a bit of a shame. Hopefully, they can course correct. But if there's anything we've learned about the D'Angelo family lately, it's that they don't know how to course correct the D'Angelo family. Speaking of not knowing how to course correct things, my God, this is going to be a topic for a while. So everybody sit down, get your haterade out, because unfortunately, Bobby, I have found the haterade. I have in my notes 4 words. Metaphor reunited. ... Or not. So, the segment starts with Oro Mensah and Noam Dar talking about how great it is that Noam's back, how he's the Heritage Cup champion again. I'm like, great. We've got Aura back on screen. We've got Noah with him. This is perfect. We'll go ahead and we'll put them back together. We'll put together back Metaphor. This is, shockingly, I was like, this is a good idea. Because we've now elevated the Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson to a level that makes sense with Noam Dar.
Yep.
And then they decided where they're like, Lash is like, Noam, we need to talk. And I'm like, okay, the Meta Girls are going to go off on their own. They're going to get called up to Raw or SmackDown. They're going to go off on their own. Aura's going to be back here with Noam, and they'll kind of do their thing. Like, that's fine. Aura Mensa's been, floundering away on Evolve. That's good. I like him on Evolve, but I want him back on NXT. Mm-hmm. And Lash is like, Aura's doing his thing on Evolve. And I'm like, no. That's not what we wanted. We don't want him on Evolve. We want him back here doing things on this show. We want to elevate him. I don't care if he's his own main man. If he's his own main man getting a demotion. That's like giving me a new job title of, head fry cook, and then making the only thing I get to do, bring the French fries out of the freezer and into the hopper. Like, no, it's not how this works. Like, you gotta fucking do better. Then Lash, as if that's not bad enough, looks at Jakara and she's like, you gotta be your own woman. I'm like, the fuck are you doing? Why are we breaking up the Meta Girls? I'm not a Meta Girls fan. I think that they're ultra talented. I think that Jakara needs some seasoning, but I think that there's a place that you can do that, and I think Jakara will get better working with better talent. I think the best thing for Jakara right now is not more time in NXT, but working with main roster talent, doing that, working in that tag division, because I think they could be really big in that tag division. And then Lash is like, yeah, Jakara's going to do this, and you're going to do your thing, and Aura's going to go back to Evolve. And, I'm going to do mine. And I'm like, exactly, Mike. This whole segment feels like Lash is, because I even messaged Ash for this. I'm like, Lash is getting called up by herself. Yeah. What the fuck are they thinking? Like, mind you, Lash can handle a solo call-up. I think she'd be great on the main roster by herself. But why are we not bringing her up with Jakara? Why do we continually? And this is so much of a fucking trend now, where they don't understand NXT Women's Tag Team, bring them to main roster as Women's Tag Team, fortify Women's Tag Team division. Because again, we're back in another meta of, pardon the meta thing here, but we're back in another meta of Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. The only thing I want to see less of on my TV screen than Liv Morgan is Liv Morgan talking. So if we can get rid of her and put her back in a title division where she can work with talent that, can actually hold her own, because we've had many talks about Raquel Rodriguez and her or Gonzalez or whatever it is, and in her inability to hold up her end of the bargain when it comes to this tag team with Liv Morgan. We want the best for Raquel. She works real hard, but at the end of the day, oh boy. I just don't understand why you're calling up Lash by yourself. Like, you can make these women's tag team titles something. You have KC Squared. By the way, why is this women's tag team division all the teams that I despise? Metaphor, the KC Squared, fucking like this women's tag team division is the bane of my fucking existence. And I'm like, we need to build it. We need to make it move. People keep saying it, and I don't believe it, because I don't understand why anybody would want to hear Liv Morgan talk. I really don't. Any of these Hollywood executives actually listen to her cut a promo? Because it's not good. It's not good at all. And people will be like, oh, she needs to be in the new Spider-Man movie. Fuck that bullshit. She is not Gwen Stacy. No. I will not go to Brand New Day if Liv Morgan is Gwen Stacy in that movie. I'm saying it right here, right now. I've now killed Ashton, by the way. She's dead over there. How dare you? Announcement of Liv's film coming next week, and you'll be shocked at which. Yeah, I keep hearing that. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it.
Bobby, you better make that a clip. I'm sorry.
And of course, Peggy, the host of Marvel Talk, finds now this is the time to pop in and say, just in time for a certified hitter. There's so much promise in the Meta Girls, and I just don't understand why on God's green earth you would break them up.
Ah, my face hurts.
No, get the tables. Don't make me come in the Twitch chat and time you out. Bobby, if you really want it, it is like, 44, 45 minutes somewhere. All right, Ashton. Thoughts on the metaphor dissolution?
I get them like breaking up. I would say like the guys and the girls, but I didn't want them to separate them individually the way they did either. Because I feel like you said you're thinking about the women's tag division. Okay, we're gonna get this, and then Soul and Zaria are not gonna last too long as a team either because of the title. So that's another team that's gonna break up sometime soon. And it's like, why put these teams together if you're eventually gonna break them up? And I feel like the Meta Girls are a few of the teams that do have chemistry together. They do very well together. So why would you separate them like this? I feel like you're little by little almost getting rid of the tag division at this point by doing stuff like this. And it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. I feel like the Meta Girls should have won those titles a little bit ago. We know Fatal Influence, another team that's going to break up sometime soon. So that's another tag team they're going to get rid of. So at this point, what are we doing really? I know that they're calling people up, but why couldn't you call them together as a tag team? They do well together. It's like if you have the tag team champions there, either have them go do that back and forth to NXT or bring more tag teams because I don't know what you're doing right now by getting rid of teams. And especially like those two are those that I would have been fine with them staying together. If you would have started that kind of storyline, like the Fatal Influence one with the Meta Girls, that I would understand if they broke up at that point. But at this point of like, oh yeah, you do your thing, I do my thing, it's like that just came out of nowhere. It took everybody by surprise. Like, well, tonight's NXT show, the thing I've seen all over my time has been metaphor breakup. Nobody wanted it. My preface was like, who asked for this? Because I didn't ask for it. Nobody did. I was like, they were fine together, and I'm like, I know him that just came back last week. I feel like they should have left a little bit more breathing room here before eventually like separating them. It's only the second week since Doemdar has returned, and they were really like, yeah, we're gonna go our separate ways. Poor guy just got back. Let him take a breather first, and then talk to you guys. But I feel like that happens so quickly. And thinking also of the call-ups, I'm like, if we do count, let's say for example, Giulia, Roxanne, and if Lash is a part of it, then are we doing a draft? Because if you're getting people like you're calling people up before the draft even happens, then what's the point of the draft? To change him like not even 2 weeks after being in the brand, like that doesn't make a lot of sense either. I feel like I would have waited until the draft happened, make it special in that sort of way for these ladies after all this time, and get them that moment of like, yeah, they're officially on Raw. Not like have people like Michael Cole keep saying they're NXT stars, but they don't even like really mention that they're from Raw or not. So I feel like that makes it also like a little bit weird in that sense of it. I'm like, I'm happy for Lashley she gets called up by herself, but at the same time, I feel like the Meta Girls were doing so, like their work was so well done. I wouldn't have broken them up the way they did. Like nothing. I feel like if anything, they deserve better if you did a breakup with them.
It makes no sense to do it this way. I don't get it. But guess what? The hits just keep on rolling. I have this written as my next thing. Soul defeats Karmen. It started and it ended with a Soul statue.
I don't get it. It's like the second time we see Karmen in this situation too. It's like I get the storyline with Ashante. I take that as something like a little bit like separate. But first you do it with Thea. Her match barely lasted with Thea, and then now this again. It's like, what is going on here? Who did she piss off backstage? Because their matches are lasting like not even 5 minutes at this point.
I've got no idea. I mean, oh, Dakota Kai. Oh, boy. Poor Dakota Kai. Oh, it's just... I love Sol Ruca. I thought the match was fine. I think highly of Karmen, to be honest with you. I think Karmen's great. I want to see more of Karmen because it felt like this match was all of 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
No, she didn't turn heel. I think she turned back babyface. I don't know what the fuck she did. A heel Karmen would be good, but I don't know what you do as a motivation for a heel Karmen Petrovic. Other than I keep losing. Like, oh, and the hits just keep on rolling. We get a Trick Williams promo. This Trick Williams promo was really all about him promoting the All-American finale coming up this week, the season finale of season 7, I believe it is, of All-American on CW. I'll be honest with you, I thought it was a new show. I didn't realize there were 7 seasons in this. He calls out Oba again. Ava comes out. She asks him, what the fuck's going on with you? Trick says that he's become bigger than NXT. I also have a note in here. Trick has completely lost the crowd. Like, you know how when Oba talks, the crowd's into it, and they're, ooh. When the old days, when Trick was in there, you'd be going ahead and being like, you know, whoop that Trick, or they'd be cheering, or they'd be with him for every little thing he did. Nothing. Got nothing. He ain't got
Bobby,
no
what
juice.
part though?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I'm glad I can pop you. That's great. But
yeah,
like
I definitely agree with the music too. I feel like they don't do it as loudly, and I feel like the character change in a way kind of affected that. So
okay. All American being a new show. 7 seasons long. Go check it out. I've never seen someone lose their aura as much as Trick Williams has lost his aura. And heels can have an aura. Like, there are heels who are over. There are heels who have it. Look at Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is clearly a heel. There's nothing babyface about Jacob Fatu. But the crowd bites for everything he does. When he talks, they listen. When he's involved, they're into it. Right now, hell, Carmelo at the end. The crowd was still with Carmelo. They were booing, but the crowd was like, he was like, hey, let's try that again. And still nobody said it.
And you know what I think what really affected him here is the fact that people know, this is the best way I can describe it, that this right now within this, like, I don't want to say portion, but like this portion so far the last couple of months, they feel like a filler until he gets called up. And I feel like at this point people are like, we don't want this because you're leaving sometime soon. And I feel like at the same time the fans are going to think we're not going to get invested in somebody that's just going to be leaving pretty soon. And thinking about it that way, it's also from the fan perspective thinking he's already done everything he has to do in NXT. So at this point, it almost feels like it's boring when you're thinking about it because he has something else to do for himself. You know, he did everything he could do at this point. All he could do is win the title again. And we know that's not going to happen because Opa is the one that's going to be there, like, at least for the last couple of months. He's going to be that person, like that main person in the main event scene. So just, I feel like in a way, like Trick is like in a limbo right now. And it's like not a good type of limbo that you want to be on. It's just one of those, like, you can't put in the North American Championship. You either put him with Oba and have him lose again. He's not going to be in a tag team. So it's like, that's why, in a way, I feel like why they're putting him with Joe Hendry, because I feel like Joe Hendry is one person that has the crowd in his hands. So they're definitely going to, like, try to leech off of that in a way. But also because they have nothing else for him to do. It's just like, what else do you do with him until he gets called up? There's nothing for him to do. And what will be, like, the point of putting him in the storyline if he's going to be out pretty soon as well? So I feel like at this point the fans are just exhausted of investing their time on him at this point. I know. So I definitely
we're not
feel
talking
like
about him.
yeah, that's true.
It's been too long. I need a squeak.
That's true. But yeah, just like it feels like it just he's just in a weird kind of limbo state right now, and I feel like it has affected the way the fans react to him, unfortunately.
Hello, Mel. Hope all is well. Yeah, no, I agree. I like the idea of at least putting him with Hendry because I think bringing him to TNA and kind of having him mingle with some of those people, like I think there's something to that. Having him walk around with the system, I think there's some interesting stuff I think you could do with Moose and Trick and Brian. Like I think there's some stuff.
Not
there.
Moose though.
I think there's some stuff there, but like I like the idea of Trick being in TNA because I think we're building to something big for Mello with getting the Honor the Giant thing. It looks like they're getting ready to push Mello. He's been on SmackDown for a year now, and even USA was like, well, it wasn't the year he was hoping for on social media. And Mello's like, bitch, please, I'm doing great. What are you talking about? It's kind of a wait and see with Trick. It's just weird to see him lose the crown. This, of course, goes to Ava announcing the 25-man Battle Royal, which means we have no plan for Oba, which means it could be anybody. I think we've all given our ideas. It could be somebody from TNA, but the likely three, I think, if I were to pick three from the 23 we talked about, I think it would be Eddie Thorpe, Javon Evans, or Trick Williams. I think those are the three you're talking. Like I said, I think Eddie Thorpe has a much better place down in the North American Championship picture with Ricky Saints. I don't think we go back to the Javon well because I think we've cemented Javon, and I think now Javon has to get into this Dark State story. And we'll talk more about that Dark State story in a minute. Roxanne and Giulia are backstage talking, and they kind of set up why they're friends, and it's like, I get you now. And like, all right, cool. So Giulia understands what Roxanne was talking about. That's at least something. You've given me the tiniest sliver of a reason why Roxanne and Giulia are friends now.
Yeah.
Cool. All I need is something. I'll suspend my disbelief because it's fun to see Roxanne and Giulia as a tag team. But this makes no sense on either one of their characters. But fine, you've given me this tiniest reason to think that this makes sense, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
Obafemi's talking with Kelly Kincaid. I almost said Kelly. Definitely not Kelly. He talks about how he'll face no. Do not put my wonderful Giulia with Becky fucking Lynch. How dare you? Logan hasn't heard me rant about Becky Lynch, so
no, don't start tonight. Come on.
By the way, I saved my Becky Lynch rant for Bobby in Discord. I know you got a little bit of like my questioning, but like Bobby got like a much longer rant about.
Oh, Bobby, I feel bad for you.
Says the Charlotte is the best to all time fanboy. Look, I love Charlotte. I think she's great. By the way, just so we're clear, Bayley is the best of the four horsemen. Charlotte is the best in-ring talent of the four. But she's overpushed, overhyped, and all the things that Bray Wyatt said about John Cena. By the way, the Firefly Funhouse. Mwah. Fantastic. No, so Obafemi talking with Kelly. Yeah. It also helps that me and Bobby both agree when it comes to Becky Lynch. Irish, Japanese, and Mexican in one fashion. It would be a WWE thing to do, but no, let's not. Let's not and just never say we thought about it.
Wait, did you say Mexican? Oh,
yes,
no.
Bayley.
Oh, I thought he meant for
Roxanne. Oh, he's talking about Roxanne, yeah. Roxanne is Tejano.
Did you say
she's
Latina?
Tejano. Well, if she's Tejano, she's from Texas.
I
So
know.
technically, she's Tejano.
Yeah, just say Latina.
Well, she's that too, but...
that too. That's what I was like, wait, am I missing something?
At least I'm closer to an actual truth. Because I don't believe she's Mexican. I believe she's
half Puerto Rican and half Mexican, I think.
Yeah. But I was like, Tejano, she's from Texas. That makes her a Tejano.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
That we can at least leave it there, and it's a comfortable box. Anyways, Obafemi. Back to my boy Obafemi. Obafemi talking with Kelly Kincaid. He says, I could wrestle Trick once, I'll wrestle Trick a million times. The story's always going to be the same. And then The Undertaker came up, and I'm like, oh, God, we don't need this. Why are you here? And he's like, this is your yard now. For now. And I'm like, oh, God. No, we're not doing Obafemi versus The Undertaker. And then he brings in LFG people, and I'm like, oh, we must be getting to the end of LFG Season 1 because we're starting to put them on my television screen. Shit, I'm going to have to watch LFG now, aren't I?
Maybe.
So I know who the fuck these people are. I know one of them was a Shiloh Hill. I don't know which one of them was Shiloh Hill.
Okay, I thought Shiloh was the almost like braid looking one, the Husky Harris looking one, to put it like that.
He's Roxanne's boyfriend, isn't he?
I don't think so.
He's not the Roxanne's boyfriend, Shiloh?
I don't know.
I don't fucking care. None of them matter. None of them matter. I think one of the other ones was probably that Chris Island guy because he's in the Battle Royal too. And Oba's like, that's fine. And I'm like, oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. We had Hank Tank take on Inamura and Briggs.
Oh. Yeah, Shiloh's not Roxanne's.
Oh, okay. There are two people I know from LFG.
Okay.
Sorry, there's four people I know from LFG.
If I think about it that way, if I'm remember him correctly, I think of the three, the one that was towards the middle, I think it's Roxanne's boyfriend, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. There are four people I know from LFG. The douchebag that I love to pick on, and I love that Bubba Ray picks on him too. Sexy BJ Ray, the douchebag who was hitting on other girls.
Yeah, no.
I know he's on the show. Roxanne boyfriend's on the show. Maxine Dupree's boyfriend's on the show, and then Bailey Humphrey.
Yeah. Oh no, I think it is Maxine's boyfriend. That's who it is. I'm double checking anyway.
There's someone there who matters. That's exactly Bailey fucking Humphrey. I have seen clips of Bailey. The only thing I keep thinking about is I want Bailey's first match in NXT, like on NXT television, to be Jada Parker. I just want to see what happens. For no other reason than I'm a messy bitch, and I want to see what happens if you put Bailey Humphrey in a ring with Jada Parker.
Mm-hmm.
No reason at all why I think that needs to be a fun idea we need to do, but I definitely think that needs to be the idea we need to do. Hank Tank takes on Inamura and Briggs. This looks to be the breakdown of Inamura and Briggs as the match ends with Inamura accidentally clocking Briggs with Tank's foot. It was a fine match. It started, it ended. That's it. Probably. I don't know the comparison. I will say this. Mel, here. This is the reason why I say that. I'm just going to put up a banner with no context and leave this up here as we talk about why Bailey Humphrey versus Jada Parker would be a fantastic matchup.
Okay, the best way I can describe it, even though I don't agree with Jada as a human being, Jada's better in the ring than Layla is. Layla, to me, no offense to her, and I apologize for anybody that likes her. She's like bottom tier. I'm sorry. Jada, don't worry about it. Don't even look her up. There's no point. I'll say Jada's I would say maybe 2 tiers above Layla at least. But Layla is definitely for somebody who's been in the dojo and who has years of experience, Jada's a better wrestler, to put it like that.
Oh God, okay. I love Jada as a professional wrestler. Yeah. I think that there's a lot of good things about Jada Parker, the wrestler. There's a lot of bad things about Jada Parker, the person, which is why we separate the person and the wrestler, and why I think Bailey Humphries would be a great matchup.
Wait, this.
Yes, that I will agree with. I don't know who this Layla Gray person is, but yes. Anyways, Hendry versus Inamura and Briggs. Asher, your thoughts?
I was like, there's nothing special to it aside from the ending. I did think that maybe Josh was gonna turn on Inamura right there and then because of the way his facial expression at the end there. I thought he was gonna turn right at that moment. But then I saw that we're both in the graphic for for the Battle Royal next week, so I wonder Josh is gonna cost him the championship match. And maybe that's what really makes everything brew a little bit longer there. But that's only I just expected that turn to happen at that moment. It just didn't. But it's like the match in itself, it was fine, I guess. It was just more like the ending really that stood up of like the way that Inamura picked up. I think it was Hank and yes, I agree with that part. Yeah, I can tell you they're in the same tier for me.
Yeah, it was a fine match. It started, it ended, it happened. Hank Tank retained, which is what I thought was going to happen. As soon as the match started, I put Hank Tank defeat Inamura and Briggs in my notes. We then get the Candy Crew promo segment, minus Charles. Apparently, Charles is staying away because he's mad at Miles for teaming with Javon Evans, which makes no sense because the reason he teamed with Javon is because Charlie and Tavion weren't there yet, so he needed to fight Dark State, so he wasn't going to fight with Ren. Like, Ren wasn't going to be his tag partner, so he needed somebody. Like, I get Miles being like, fuck this shit. Both, whatever, it's no big deal. Yeah, the tag team is pretty timid, though, for Roxanne. No, the tag team division is fine. They need to build Hank Tank up, and they'll be fine. It's just going to take a bit to get things back on track. I think they need to hot potato the shit out of that tag team championship to a bunch of different teams. Now that we had Fraxium as tag team champions for so long, I think there's a lot you can do with that. The basic portion of the Candy Crew promo is that Miles says, screw what Charlie says. I'm going to do what's best for me. I get it. I feel for Miles. Like, he's like, look, I did what I had to do. Like, I should do what I need to do. Tavion should do what Tavion needs to do. Charles should do what Charlie needs to do. And then Miles walks away, and Tavion's like, what do you think Charlie's going to think? She's like, well, Charles thinks a lot of things, and he has a very complex mind. And I'm like, oh, I love you, Ren Sinclair. I love you.
I'm glad they're letting her personality show a little bit more, to be honest.
Yeah.
Compared to before.
We then had the Chase U segment, I believe. I'll be honest with you. I stopped taking notes at this point.
Yes, Chase U.
We had the Chase U segment where Chase U says he's feeling himself. Chase U's back. He goes on a rant about a guy who's literally only saying that these guys need to show up on time. Because if you look behind Andre Chase, rule 1 is be on time. But in a tweet, he says, what we have right now is a teachable moment. Snitches get stitches. Also, all my homies hate Chad. I can agree with that. Everybody knows a guy named Chad that's a fucking douchebag. It just comes with the name Chad. For anybody in the group, in the chat, whose name's Chad, I'm sorry. We then had the main event, I believe.
We had the Kalani, Zaria, and Soul segment.
That train wreck. Oh, yeah, we had that. No, but the Bladers are both in it. Do you want to say anything about this before I go on about this? Because I have thoughts.
No, I just wonder though, more than anything here, what the heck they're thinking about doing Kalani, because her promo doesn't seem to have like a good direction, if that makes sense. I know. You can go ahead.
So Kalani comes in and she's like, oh, I thought you were going to be a fighting champion and you were going to defend that title like I did, defending it all the time in all my matches. And I'm like, what is with people and constantly thinking champions just need to give title shots to everybody? Also, I couldn't stop paying attention to this fucking bead on Kalani's hair that kept going right in the middle of her fucking eye every time she moved and said something. It pissed me the fuck off. Also, why are we building a feud between Kalani Jordynne and Sol Ruca? I think Kalani should be in the women's championship picture at this point.
And I feel like even after the ladder match, I feel like they should have done a little bit more with the girls that went in the ladder match with Soul right now, rather than just having Zaria be like, no, basically.
And then Zaria tells her, no, she doesn't defend the title just willy-nilly. If you want to get to her, you go through me. And I'm like, well then. How long until Zaria keeps beating down these people and then goes, hey, look, I'm going through all these people. I get a title shot. Oh, I just don't. Ashley just sent me a picture. The names are Shiloh Hale, Anthony Luke, and Jasper Troy. Anthony Luke is Maxine Dupree's boyfriend.
Yeah, and then Shiloh's I call him like the Husky Harris looking one, basically.
Yeah, he's the one that has the do-rag on top of his head in the front of the picture in the green.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I'm gonna
Jasper is the only one I didn't know.
Share screen. Let's see if I can share this window.
Yeah, I was pausing it right at the moment to give you the screenshot.
There we go. Mm-hmm. So, yes, we can see this is Shiloh Hill, this is Anthony Luke, and this is whatever Jasper Troy is.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is a wonderful, wonderful man over here. I love how he's the most beautiful boy in the world. And then we had the main event, and the main event was great. It was fantastic. These four women killed it. Io Sky fit right back in. I love babyface Io Sky pointing at herself, jumping up and down.
Yes, that emo. It looks so cute. I like the crowd doing it behind her too. It makes it look even cooler when they almost do it in unison with her. Oh, the other part was Joe Hendry talking about Darcy. That's when they set up the match, the 6-man tag for next week too. It was like that part I hate. It's like Hong Kong if you want us, and then he's like, I'm like, no, he did that.
No, Joe, don't honk. Don't honk. Go get
too late.
Joe, go get Miles and go get Javon. Like, why are we teaming with fucking Hank?
He went to do it with his arm and it just didn't work because of the injury, so he went with the other one. I said, no, I lost him. We lost the plot. But yeah, back to the main event.
main event was fantastic. Yeah, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. I think it'll be a world championship match for the women, world heavyweight championship match for the women sometime in the next year. It's the reason they're feuding him. They're going to feud. Rhea's probably the next big championship challenge for Io on a big stage, and then by the summer, I think between now and SummerSlam, I think that Saturday night's main event. The Tampa weekend Saturday night's main event, I think, is Giulia versus Io. That would be my suggested main event for that show. I think that'd be a good one. But this match was great. All four women killed it. Jordynne Grace, carrying around both Roxanne Perez and Giulia was a fun little visual. Io gets the big win. Io gets to celebrate for like 10 minutes as the show goes off the air. And by the way, the one thing I wanted to say about the Io thing like this, where she like does that thing, it needs to be a Fortnite emote.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great Fortnite emote. And we get next week's card, which is a bunch of stuff that I don't really care about, that I don't want to talk about. And that was NXT tonight. The first half of the show is really strong. And then they hit a fucking brick wall where the haterade comes out. Because, again, I will put out Bobby's comments, where we have Bobby saying, hold on. No, I didn't go far enough. No, that's not the right one. Here we go. It's this one. And it sounds like you put on the haterade and accidentally drank some of my special edible drink. And then we get a little further in the show, and Bobby says, whoa, the haterade has been passed over.
That's for me. You're welcome.
Before we go ahead and do our plugs, I want to go ahead and let you guys know what we've got coming up here at our local establishment this week.
Never gonna stop, never gonna change, never gonna do the things you say. I run my own way to get there. Pulls a coin and the odds seem to care. In the air, no more crowd, just the opposite kind of few clouds. So tell me this time is coming for the sake of all your lies. Why don't you try to be wise? Know that I need you anyway.
So that's the stuff that's coming up here at our local establishment, coming up this week. And if you want to follow our local establishment, you can follow the Ole Podcast, capital OLEP, on all social medias. It helps you find it easier if you capitalize those letters, because there are a few different types of Ole podcasts you can find out there. YouTube and Twitch, our local establishment. Make sure you go ahead, if you watch this on YouTube, give us a like, leave us a comment if you're watching after the fact on either our place or on Ash's channel. Go ahead and leave us a like, leave us a comment. I know over here at our local establishment, I go ahead and get the comments for all of my videos. I know Bobby checks the comments for all the videos. So go ahead and leave a comment. Me and Bobby will get back to you in the chat at some point in due time. Astrid, where can the people find you?
You can find me, my Twitter Blue Skies Astrid Pizarro, and my Instagram and Threads AstridPizarro20. And if you haven't, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell to be notified when I upload or go live. Really excited for Battleground. Building it up to see what we got cooking up this time around for this one.
Edge tried to be a booker for Battleground. It's not. It's Astrid has some concerns. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Skies at EdFries12584. You can find me on Twitter, twitch.tv/EdFries2002. This week for me, we've got the Thunderbolts review coming up on Sunday. Me and Andre have been granted permission by the host of Marvel Talk, Becky, to go ahead and talk about all things Thunderbolts this Sunday afternoon. We don't quite have a time yet, but we'll put that on social media as soon as we do have a time. Me, Andre, and Peggy will all be seeing this movie in different places on Thursday. Andre and Peggy, I believe, will be seeing it at the same time. I will obviously not be in Canada seeing this movie, so I'll be seeing it here. But yeah, no, we're very excited for this. It's going to be a fun one. It's getting rave reviews. It seems to be one of the best Marvel movies in a long time, so very excited for that. You can also catch me right here next Thursday next Tuesday, as we go ahead and talk all things NXT again. And again, Marvel Talk will be back in the foreseeable future. Hopefully with a MCU Rebound episode soon, as we got a little bit of a break now with MCU content until after Thunderbolts and before Fantastic Four First Steps comes out. So we'll probably start doing some MCU Rebounds. You can also catch me and Peggy at some point in the near future talking all things Doctor Who. This may be a show that goes as a one-off after the end of the season, depending on how things go, because we're both busy people and unfortunately we haven't been able to work out a time to do the show just yet. But we're looking to do it because I do love Doctor Who and I've been loving the season. Ncuti Gatwa has been fantastic as the Doctor. I think Lux is one of the standout episodes. I think every Doctor has their one or two episodes that defines them as a Doctor and is kind of one of their definitive episodes. And I think Lux might have been that for Ncuti Gatwa. So I'm very excited to talk about that. There's been a lot of fun on this season so far. But yeah, catch all the other things at our local establishment and all the other different places. Thank you all for joining us. This has been Taking Over, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.
I am in misery.